What's shaking, everybody? You're listening to Improv Tabletop, The Tension Builders, the bump in the dark actual play where we make up almost everything on the spot. I'm Ned Wilcock, your host and GM, and today I'm joined by...
Caleb Anderton is ready to be a Lego again.
Christian Randall is not ready to do an Eastern European accent.
And Evan Peterson, I be shaking in me britches in excitement.
First episode of a brand new campaign. The excitement is, in fact, palpable.
Yes.
So, yeah, when we were at the end of our little session 0 last time, we kind of joked about how Christian's part of the Parks and Rec and we should do like a Shakespeare in the Park. And then the more we thought about it, the more we were like, you know what? Yeah, okay, let's do that. I've actually been kind of thinking about that as well in terms of like the thematics of this campaign. And when you look at like the Lego movie, for example, everything is elevated to the nth degree in that movie. Mm-hmm. Just like the simplest thing becomes the most large, bombastic, and complicated thing that it could be. So even in terms of like, scout camp, twice a week we have our campfire ceremonies where the scouts get an opportunity to get up there and perform their skits for the rest of the camp. So, I mean, it just makes sense, doesn't it? It's the only logical next step that if we're elevating a campfire ceremony, it's all about, full-on theatrical productions and stuff. Am I right?
That makes sense.
It makes perfect sense to me.
And so that is what we're going to be getting into with this next adventure we've got going on here. So I suppose the first thing to do, since we've got a new hunt upon us, is for me to show you the inciting incident, a little scene that is happening somewhere else off in the camp that you are all not necessarily privy to as the characters, but to kind of lay the foundation for what's going on. A mystery is happening here in Camp Studston, and so it is rehearsal for the upcoming campfire ceremony. People just bustling all around in the Campfire Bowl in this sort of like amphitheater area just off the side of the lake. The production has been brought to a screeching halt, and the director is just very unhappily, like the director is unhappy in general because it's tonight. The thing is tonight, and things are not going well during this final dress rehearsal. And he's just shouting out, "Where is Yorick's skull? We cannot have Alas Poor Yorick without Yorick's skull." And so the stage manager is on the intercoms, just like frantically calling back to the tech crew off in the wings, who's supposed to grab Yorick's skull. And one of the assistant stage managers is looking at their clipboard and like walking over towards the props table, just like, who is assigned to Yorick's skull? And flips to the part where it says Yorick's skull, and there's a blank space next to it. And this assistant stage manager is like, that's weird, and continues flipping through. Actually, now that I look at it, there's a lot of blank spaces on here. We got to get those filled in really quick. And kind of stumbles while looking at this clipboard and looks down and sees Yorick's skull lying there on the ground backstage. Goes, oh, okay, there it is. Grabs the skull and starts bringing it towards the stage. But what this assistant stage manager does not notice is the charred pair of footprints on the ground by the props table, right where this skull had been dropped to the floor. And the skull is brought out to the stage, the production continues, and one very, very confused assistant stage manager begins very, very panikedly and quickly filling out all of those blank spaces on the prop sheet. And now we cut over to Troop 4x2 in their haunted campsite. How are our characters spending their lunch break before they get ready for the rest of the activities of the day?
Pilfer! Pilfer! I need help with my lunch. Please come, quickly.
I'll be right there just as soon as Giles gets me good peg leg, Giles. You were supposed to be oiling it fresh this morning, and now I'm stuck with this ratty old thing.
Oh, I'm terribly sorry, Pilfer. I've got that drying right now over by the, and looks in the direction of this huge pile of dirty dishes that he also was supposed to be cleaning. I've got it right here, in fact, and just like pulls a curtain in front of the pile of dirty dishes, grabs your finest peg leg, carved from the finest mahogany that you could find, on all of your previous journeys, decades ago, centuries ago, who knows?
Centuries.
Who knows? Only the sea knows.
I pop out the baseball bat Lego piece that I had managed to cram into the leg hole and pop in the good actual peg leg piece and make my way over to Master Brickithon.
Yes, thank you. Pilfer, I am having trouble. This is a bit embarrassing. Would you just make sure that this food is in bite-sized chunks so that I do not choke on it, please?
Aye, it's what any good crew member would do for another. And I whip out my double cleavers, or a cutlass and a cleaver, and just like across the food until it's in little 1x1 Lego pieces.
I like to imagine you've got like the sous chef sort of like bandana tied on it just for that moment, and then it like goes back to a pirate's hat.
Mm-hmm.
It's gone.
They're not 1x1. What do they call the little just pegs?
Studs?
Studs. And little studs. And then I whip out a spoon and scoop up a stud. And I go, open up your tunnel, here comes a plane.
Thank you. I simply meant... all right.
Shove a stud in.
While Pilfer is spoon-feeding Master Brickithon, I'm going to shuffle sideways, and I'm going to turn to Giles. Giles, my friend. Good friend Giles.
Yes, Oleg.
You need help cleaning dish, yes?
If you are willing to offer me help, I have so many dishes that I need to clean. I thought that, being the assistant to a swashbuckling pirate would be a bit more glamorous and exciting, but it appears that I am on deck swabbing duty, as it were.
You want glamour. You want excite.
Yes.
I give you glamour. And I pull out some doodad, doohickey contraption that I have been tinkering with for the past half hour. This is razzmatazz, as you people say. This will do dishes. And I'm going to go over there and put it next to all the dishes and push a button on it to try and make it do the dishes.
All right.
Wow.
So you have tinkered to create this new thing here. I think we're going to make our first roll of the campaign to see how good this thing that you have rigged together is. We're going to have you roll with your rig skill. And now for all of our listeners out there who are unfamiliar with this kind of system, in this game, we have a number of skills that our players can do. They're all just verbs. And as long as you can figure out a way to flex an action into one of those verbs, you can use that verb as your skill. We have 3 empty circles next to each skill, and at the character creation, we have the opportunity to put some dots into those empty circles, and however many dots you have, that's how many 6-sided dice you get to roll, and then you just look to see which one got the highest result. So you've got 2 dots in rig, so roll us 2d6.
A 6 and a 5.
Yep, so we take as our final result the single highest number that was rolled. If it is a 6, that is a full success, an unmitigated success. You do exactly what you set out to do with no consequences. A 4 to 5 is a partial success. You get what you want, but at a cost. And then 1 to 3 is a full failure, and something bad happens as a result of that. Thank goodness that in this very low stakes kind of situation, you have managed to get a full success.
Yeah, so I'm going to turn to Giles and go, good friend Giles, this is razzmatazz. You use different word. You say excitement, yes?
Oh, excitement, glamour.
Glamour.
Yes, any number of synonyms that you might choose. Gentle friend Oleg.
Oleg.
Yes.
Olgi. G. Giles. Oleg. We are friend.
We are friends.
And then I smash the button to see how well it works.
And yeah, while all of the dishes are being just perfectly, flawlessly cleaned by this new contraption that you have made, there's commotion going on with our other 2 characters.
Pilfer, I don't know if you have noticed. You are significantly older than I originally thought that you were. But I believe that Oleg was significantly younger than I thought he was, because, have you noticed, his voice has dropped? He sounds more like a man than he did simply a week ago.
I look over and see the giant machine cleaning all the dishes. And I go, ah! And throw the plate up in the air and the studs go everywhere. And I start hobbling over. What be the meaning of this machine? I would appreciate ye not ruining the learning experiences of me crew.
Hello, Pilfer. What is the problem? You say learning. I did not teach Giles how to make this machine. I made this machine.
Aye, but Giles needs to learn the way. He needs to earn his stripes at sea. He needs to learn the ways of the ship from the ground up. This is hornswoggle. This is nonsense. This is skipping the line. This is taking the easy route when at sea is hard labor.
Sorry, I confused a little. You said from the ground up and on the sea. Where is your ship?
Aye, my ship be wherever I need it to be. You put it on the land to fix it. You ship it out to sea to sail it. You need to learn to do both.
Pilfer is very wise indeed. I apologize for, how you say, ruining your deckhand. I will, break his knees?
No, none of that. We'll just, we can just move this machine, and instead of moving it, I just start disassembling it and throwing pieces over my shoulders.
Pilfer is very good at moving, very efficient.
Yes, very efficient indeed, Giles says as he watches the pieces one by one landing on the other side, forming into a trash can.
One of the stray pieces lands in the bowl of food that Master Brickithon has just finished gathering up. It splashes all over the place.
Pilfer, thank you for the food.
I have a question.
Yes, Oleg.
I heard in morning announcements, big show tonight, yes?
Ah, yes. Hamlet, my favorite.
Ham.
It's gonna be even greater than that, friends. You hear a voice from the trail leading into your campsite as your troop friend Scoops starts heading on his way into the campsite.
Scoops!
He's not dead!
Wonderful to see you again.
Yep, I haven't been dead for the past week. It's always good to see you again as well. I have here some playbills for tonight's festivities. It's not just Hamlet going on tonight. We've also got Twelfth Night. We've got Much Ado About Nothing. We've got Macbeth going on. It's a whole big production.
In one night.
My goodness.
We're very ambitious here at Camp Studston.
No. 12 nights. He said 12 nights.
Goodness, we'll be there all night and into the next morning.
I could sail to England and see it live and be back before these are done.
Question.
Answer.
Shakespeare. He is here?
Oh yeah, he's going to be here tonight watching the shows.
So excited.
My goodness, I haven't seen Shakespeare since we met as young builders at this camp.
Yeah, it's always really exciting when he shows up. He dismantles the entire Globe Theater and then rebuilds it here in Camp Studston.
Oh, what a builder.
A master, if there ever was one.
A wordsmith and bricksmith.
The bard of builders, as it were. So, here's the thing. Yeah, we've got all these big plans for the shows tonight, but weird stuff is going on over at the rehearsals for these shows. And you three, I gotta admit, you get stuff done, so I thought perhaps I would entreat upon you guys to see if maybe you can help do some investigation. Master Bartholomew, the camp director, would be very, very happy if you just went in there and maybe poked around a little bit, see if you can figure out why all this weird stuff is happening.
Master Bartholomew has arrived.
Yeah, he was, down the river, making sure that there were no krakens that were going to get in the way of the canoeing trip that we take down there, the big old whitewater trip for the people getting their canoeing and various other merit badges. But he has slain the krakens and has returned triumphantly as per usual.
What a guy. Wow. So weird is what we do, so I'm very, very happy to be investigate. Very happy.
Awesome.
You said weird stuff. You have any details?
Yes, please, Scoops, elaborate on the weird things that are happening at rehearsals.
What is the scoop, Scoops?
Yeah, haven't heard that one all day yet. Okay. He has with him a box under his arm, and he begins passing out the customary gift of Choco Tacos that he brings with him from the commissary. Mm-hmm. So, people are disappearing, I think, is what it seems like.
People, you say? How many?
That's the thing is, nobody quite quite knows for sure. Because like at one point we have enough technicians to handle all of the tech stuff, and then the next thing we know, we suddenly don't. And everybody's like, who was supposed to take care of that? And nobody remembers.
Oh.
In the background of this whole conversation, you all just hear Pilfer crunching his Choco Taco and little like...
But the stage manager, where is the stage manager? They should be taking care of this. They should have meticulous notes on where every one of their technicians should be at any point.
That's the thing. The stage manager does have meticulous notes, but they appear to be wrong.
This seems like the kind of thing to investigate. Can we go backstage?
I have these press passes for you.
Oh, press.
Now. Wait. Just 1 minute before we agree. If we help ye, will ye agree to sign off on our theater protection merit badges?
Oh, yes.
Scoops reaches out and gives you like the secret pirate handshake that you taught him that you do whenever you're doing illicit under the table sort of dealings to get your badges. Absolutely. Yeah, as long as you can just make sure that nothing really, really terrible happens later tonight when that production happens, because I have this inkling that something really terrible is going to happen if somebody doesn't step in.
Will ye still give it to us if something terrible starts to happen and then we still stop it after it begins?
The ends justify the means. That's my personal philosophy as Scoops, your troop friend.
As long as it's only half destroyed.
Scoops, you're a good man to know.
That's very true. Everybody I know says that. Nobody hates me. Everybody likes me. I'm everybody's friend.
Scoops is good friend.
Is that your daily affirmation you see in the mirror?
I'm going to go back to the commissary. They've got work for me to do. You know where the Campfire Bowl is. It's hard to miss it. It's the place where smoke is always rising from because there's always a campfire going in the Campfire Bowl.
And I look back at our eternal campfire. Are we Campfire Bowl?
No, Oleg, the other one. But they have to feed theirs all the time. Ours just burns forever, somehow. It's part of the haunted campsite.
Ours also doesn't create any smoke.
Uh-huh. This is true. And as we leave, I'm going to bow to a few ghosts that I've befriended, and by that I've just talked at them a lot. They haven't said anything back, but they're my friends in my mind.
I jog to catch up with you as we're walking out of the campsite, and I go, hey, were you gonna eat your Choco Taco?
Oh, I'm lactose intolerant, actually, so...
Perfect. I just snatch it out of your hands and just...
As you go off in one direction towards the Campfire Bowl, Scoops is heading off the other direction back towards the commissary like, I'm so glad that everybody in my troop loves ice cream as much as they do. I'm a good troop friend. Scoops! And he like stops and he pulls out a signaling mirror from his backpack and looks at himself in it and says, Scoops, everybody likes you. Nobody hates you. You're everybody's friend. And he puts it back into his pack, starts walking back to the lodge. And eventually you all do make it to the Campfire Bowl. And as you approach, you can hear over, I guess, you know what? Why not? They've got loudspeakers here because everything in the Lego situation is just expanded into much bigger than it would be otherwise. And you hear over the loudspeakers, if music be the food of love, play on. Give me excess of it that's surfeiting, the appetite may sicken, and so die.
Oh dear. Whoever they have playing Orsino could do with some more rehearsals.
I thought I spoke English. I don't think I speak English.
Nah, no one speaks this English.
Not anymore, but they did. And if you simply allow yourself to be taken by the words and the rhythm of them, it's called iambic pentameter, and it's beautiful.
Budzdrov, you sneeze?
No, iambic pentameter, it's the poetry of Shakespeare's words. It's beautiful. You will get it. I promise.
This guy knows what he's talking about, man. And from
Is this Shakespeare?
and from one of the pathways leading up to you, you see this guy with a bald top of his head, but long hair coming kind of down towards his shoulders.
Big collar,
big puffy pants, quill in one hand. Oh, now you understand what the whole deal is there, cat.
Shakespeare. It's so good to see you again. You probably don't even remember me. I am Brickithon. If you remember from our younger days, we met briefly.
You remember correctly, Daddy Cat. No idea who you are, but I'm glad that you've come here to my show.
It's all right.
Very nice to meet you, Mr. Spear. I like your funny words.
And I like your funny words as well. Now, here's the thing here, all you hep. I'm trying to think of what word besides cat he can use, because I've already used it too many times.
Cool cats and kittens.
Felines.
Yeah, all you groovy felines. Oh boy, what have I done to myself?
This is not the choice I was expecting for Shakespeare.
Hey, this is canon and also historically accurate.
Probably.
Well, I can't stand here and listen to my works be butchered any further, so I'm going to head over to the trading post, get myself a stiff drink of bourbon, and be on my way back so I don't have to hear that anymore. And he points his thumb towards the stage where Orsino is just struggling so hard to remember his lines.
As he does that, I'm going to just stare in rapt fascination at his thumb.
Yeah.
How did he do that?
Oh, Legos. As you wonder this, he goes strutting on his way towards the trading post.
I can imagine that Shakespeare's the only one with hands, and that's how he can write so well.
Oh, God.
He always did have a weird protrusion coming out of the back of his claw hand.
Well, yes. Now the entire Campfire Bowl is open to your investigation.
So, people disappear from the stage and also from the paper, it sounds like. You said a stage manager.
Yes, it is the person who is in charge of everything that goes on backstage, the behind the scenes.
Not a director?
No, the director is more of the artistic direction of the play, but once the performance starts, it's the stage manager that is the real brains of the operation.
Like the co-captain who's in charge of the deckhands.
A first mate?
We're kind of losing the metaphor. We should find this stage manager.
All right.
Ned, is this rehearsal or is this performance already?
This is still rehearsal. We have not yet got to the actual campfire ceremony itself.
The stage manager will most likely be on book somewhere near the front.
Yeah, so you begin heading down, and now let's talk about how this hunt is going to be structured. So similar in Blades in the Dark, we had these jobs that we would go on. During those jobs, you're getting into all kinds of crazy scrapes and whatnot. This is kind of similar. That is our action phase, but it's very investigative in nature. So you're going to be going around looking for clues. There is something, some creature, some phenomenon causing all of this weird stuff to happen, and you're trying to find clues to figure out what the creature is, what it's trying to do, and how you might be able to contain it. As you make successful rolls as part of your investigation, you will discover clues that will lead you towards those answers, but the entire time this is going on, there's also a countdown clock ticking down. When you get partial successes or failures, that might cause the clock to tick down, and by the time the clock is empty, that means it's time for you guys to come up with your theory of what this thing is, what it's trying to do, and how you can stop it. Alternatively, you don't have to wait until the clock finishes counting down. If you feel like you have enough information to get your theory, then you can go for it. But the more clues you have, the better chance you will have when you make the showdown roll to actually confront the beastie, that you will be able to be in a fortunate position when you do so. Mm-hmm. So for this one, all of our hunts are going to be on either a timer of a 4 clock, a 6 clock, or an 8 clock. For those who aren't familiar with clocks in RPG terminology, it's a circle with that many segments, and as we go through, we fill in those segments until the clock has been filled entirely. A 6 clock is kind of the average. An 8 clock it'll give you more time to investigate, and a 4 clock is much more urgent. I think since this is our first hunt, let's go with an 8 clock, just so we can start getting a feel for how this system is without being harrowed for time necessarily.
You are so generous to us.
Oh, thank you. So you go around, tell me what you do, and then we will figure out what action happens to fit for that particular move.
I would like to look for the most frazzled looking person.
All right.
Good instincts, Oleg. That will be the stage manager.
Yeah, I think let's have you read this situation.
Oh, okay. I was gonna try and hunt.
Oh, try and hunt? Okay. That does make sense as well. One of the things with the skills is that they are kind of loosely defined intentionally. so that different skills could potentially be flexed into different situations. So where reading helps you to scrutinize details and interpret evidence, gather information, closely analyze a person to detect lies or true feelings, observe a situation, anticipate outcomes. Hunting allows you to carefully track a target, follow clues, attack with precision, that kind of stuff. So you're trying to carefully track down the most frazzled looking person in this situation. So I believe we can flex that into Hunt for you.
Again, your generosity knows no bounds.
You have 1 dot in Hunt, so that's going to be 1d6.
1d6, and I rolled a 1.
Nice. Full failure.
So I'm gonna find the most frazzled looking person. Let's see who I can find.
Yep. You do, in fact, find the stage manager. The stage manager is looking just like... You can tell that this minifig once had a hairpiece on top of her head, but no longer does, and is covering it up with a bandana just to kind of maintain some semblance of sanity. But yeah, as you are approaching towards this stage manager, she's being flocked by absolutely everybody who has a problem. You have to like wade through this crowd of people. You're like struggling like a salmon upstream to get to the stage manager. And in so doing, because of this full failure, we're going to mark off, I think, 2 ticks on our countdown clock.
Oops.
Just for the amount of time it takes you to get to the stage manager.
Oh my gosh.
They're already into Act 4.
Hey Ned,
Hey, what?
do any of the Shakespeare plays, actually I guess any one of you can answer this, do any of the Shakespeare plays have scenes on a boat?
Yes.
Which one?
The Tempest?
Yep, Tempest has some scenes on a boat. It's a boat that crashes and goes down, but you can certainly go for it.
Tempest, Act 1, Scene 1, on board a ship carrying King Alonso of Naples. Okay. Can I run up behind the stage manager and go, switch to Tempest, Act 1, Scene 1, and then all the like stagehands come out and change the set real quick to be a ship set, and then I bounce out on stage and blend into the background to observe the actors and stagehands and goings on around the stage.
All right, we are trying to convince... that sounds like perhaps a compel roll to me, which you have 2 dots in.
Okay, I was looking for either compel or sneak, because I'm trying to blend into the background. So either way, I have the same number of dots.
Yeah, so go ahead and roll 2d6. Tell me the highest single result.
That's gonna be a 6.
Yes!
Nice.
All right.
Pilfer, very good, very strong.
Yeah, so you... you're looking at this stage manager, and she's just like looking at paper after paper after paper in front of her. And when you say switch to the Tempest, she's like, okay, you know what? Actually, we do need to work on that scene, Act 1, Scene 1. That's a really tough set change. So she calls out the order to get the stage switched to the Tempest, and it's no longer 12th Night, and boom, the ship is getting set up. And because of your good roll, these stagehands are doing so well. It's like a smooth, well-oiled machine, ship pieces getting thrown together, big old fans and spray, ocean spray, going up into the stage itself. And yeah, you kind of sneak yourself into the back. And as you get into position, you're sort of watching, you're sort of listening. You hear one of the stagehands backstage talking to another one, and they're like, and then we have to get ready for the transition into Macbeth. And you hear a bunch of the other stagehands go,
Oh no, we know what the problem is.
We found it.
Holy inside baseball.
How familiar is Pilfer, do you think, with the theatrical superstitions of Shakespeare and his Scottish plays?
I want to say extremely familiar.
Oh.
Like he has them mostly memorized.
All right.
Wow.
And he finds them overrated.
I mean, for all of those centuries back in the day, you only had so much stuff to read. And when you're out on a pirate ship and the only book you got is the complete works of William Shakespeare, I mean, you read what you gotta read.
Mm-hmm.
So you are more than familiar with the superstitions around saying the name Macbeth in a theater unless it is explicitly for part of the production of the show.
Wait, is this not explicitly for part of the production of the show?
It gets a little bit fuzzy. Particular theater companies, particular regions might have different levels of superstition around it.
Right. Pilfer is more familiar with the nuances than Evan is, so it's fine. He gets it.
So
Yes.
that helps.
Yeah, but what you definitely know for sure is that this stagehand, as soon as he says Macbeth, all the others clap their C-shaped hands to their mouths in horror. And this one particular stagehand is like, okay, sorry, I gotta leave the stage, got to throw some salt over my shoulders,
Spin around 3 times.
turn around 3 times, and recite a line from Midsummer Night's Dream. So this stagehand goes running off towards a door leading out into just the woods that are immediately abutted up to this fancy stage we've got here.
I'm loving the imagery of all of these master builders just doing scene changes, like really quickly, just building a boat.
That is an amazing image.
So how, like right now they're doing Tempest Act 1 Scene 1, so they've just thrown a boat up there and they're just doing the scene. I'm enthralled.
Yeah, from out in the house itself, it's just well-oiled machine. You can see that the performers who are putting on this show much more practiced than good old Duke Orsino was at the beginning of 12th Night.
Oh, they're not all terrible?
No, some of them are actually good.
Oh, I've been picturing this whole thing. I pulled up Act 1, Scene 1. I'm just picturing, Boatswain, here, master, what cheer?
But yeah, so Pilfer, you're backstage, and you're kind of waiting for that stagehand to show back up, and stagehand is not showing back up.
I wanna follow him, but sneaky. I wanna sneak after him.
All right.
I wanna get up on my tippy toes and to go.
I think that sounds explicitly like a sneak roll, yes.
4.
Okay, partial success we've got here. So as you're sneaking along and your feet are making that little one of the sound technicians is like, what on earth is that noise? And you have to like flatten yourself up against one of the curtains.
I love that sneaking makes its own actual noise that can be heard.
And so you do manage to stop just in time, and you pause for long enough that eventually the sound technician is like, okay, must have been
the wind.
I don't know. We're all frazzled around here. Crazy stuff going on. People disappearing left and right. Ain't nothing right in this here town. And takes a big old pull on a cigarette, and you continue on your way out. But you do have to pause for long enough. That's going to be one more tick on the countdown clock. We are now at 3 out of 8 segments filled. And you sneak out the door leading into the woods where the stagehand disappeared, and you see no people out here.
With the partial success, did we see Pilfer sneak off stage so we could follow?
Yeah, you both heard from the house, and you're like, Pilfer sneaking again.
I recognize the sound of the peg leg. That's what it is.
A fine mahogany peg neg.
Yeah, it's not dee, it's ding thong, ding thong, ding thong, ding thong.
Pilfer, we saw you sneak away.
We come running around the outside of the theater to where he is.
What have you found?
I guess technically nothing, but that's what's mysterious about it. There should be a person here, because a person just walked here, but now there be no person. One of you with 2 eyes. Be there any footprints?
Yeah, I will get down on all fours, bend perfectly 90 degrees at the waist, so my hands and feet both touch the ground, and I'm just gonna go like run around on all fours, kind of just like looking at the ground.
Like
a dog sniffing for clues.
Yeah.
Now, I think in this instance, I feel like read probably is the more appropriate move here.
Yeah.
Now, one thing I will mention is Master Brickithon hasn't had a chance to roll yet and is very good at reading.
Yeah, I will stand up and be like, I can't read. Master Brickithon.
Keep forgetting, Oleg. We need to start those lessons for you.
And I will take my good eye and my better eye.
Yeah.
I am going to look around and read the situation, looking for footprints, looking for signs of a scuffle, broken twigs, anything like that.
All right, yeah. You have 2 dice in read, so go ahead and roll 2d6.
That's a 5.
Nice.
Yes, partial success. So yeah, you are looking around, trying to see what could have happened. How did this person disappear? And you do find a pair of footprints leading into the woods, and then the footprints suddenly just stop.
I'm going to, first of all, look up, because we need to watch out.
People very often don't check up in the trees.
And first of all, I look up. Do I see anything up in the trees?
You do see something up in the trees.
Uh-oh.
I shoot it with my pistol.
I will push the gun out of the way so he doesn't kill this guy, maybe.
Would you like to hear what is up in the trees?
I specifically wanted to shoot before you said it.
I specifically wanted to just push the gun out of the way before he killed whatever it is.
So Master Brickithon just begins slowly looking up, and instantly your first reaction is shoot upwards. Okay.
He's a pirate.
He's a pirate. Okay, so we're going to get, I suppose, a contested roll between these two.
I would like to roll with scramble if possible.
I think that makes sense. Scrambling as quickly as you can to throw off this shot.
Yeah.
And I think Pilfer, I mean, you're shooting a gun. That sounds like probably Hunt to me.
Oh, okay.
Unless you have another thing that you can try and persuade me of.
No. I was thinking I didn't know for sure, so I was like, maybe Wreck, but either way, it's the same number. So.
All right, so that's 1 die for Pilfer, 2 dice for Oleg.
What'd you roll, Oleg?
I rolled the same number on both dice.
Which was?
A 1.
Oh,
Dang it.
boy.
I rolled the 6 on my 1 dice.
You rolled a 6!
Okay.
Do I get shot?
So here's what I think happens.
We still don't even know what it is.
There's no critical failure in this game, right?
We'll get to the results of Master Brickithon's roll in just a moment here. But Pilfer, you raise your gun up and you fire directly at the thing up in there. The thing that it is a cauldron that has been tipped so that the opening is facing downwards. You shoot up into the mouth of the cauldron. The bullet bounces around inside a few times and then comes flying out and hits Oleg right in the leg.
Oh, leg.
Oh, bullshit. Oh,
Oleg, you watch your language, but I'm here to help.
oh, my leg. Oh, leg. Oh.
So, Oleg, we're going to give you a wound, in fact.
Yay. First wound.
So when you take a wound, you have reduced impact on any relevant actions. Impact is like how much of an impact you can have by making the action in the first place. So now that you have been shot in the leg, if you're trying to like sneak, or if you're trying to get somewhere quickly, you can have reduced impact now on that because of this wound you have taken. So we're going to give you the wound, shot in leg.
Took a bullet to the knee.
Hey, I'm so sorry.
Now, as this gunshot fires off, you hear the stage manager screaming from inside, "Who stole the blank revolver? Somebody go find out what's going on!"
Oh, not a blank.
I pop my torso up and throw the gun into my legs.
It's not a blank. Not a blank.
There is now, you hear like a scrambling of feet on the other side of that door that you just came out through. People are coming to see what the hubbub is. So that is sort of our mixed success that we got on Master Brickithon's initial roll. We're going to tick down the countdown once more because of this hullabaloo you find yourselves in, but you did find another clue, an empty cauldron immediately above where the footprints ended, inverted upside down.
And it's full of bullet holes.
Now, yeah.
Is it suspended by rope or a net? What's going on here?
A very rough spun rope made of like jungle creepers and bits of hair and all kinds of weird, grody, nasty stuff. This rope holding up this cauldron that contained something.
As I limp away from the approaching people, can I just look and see, did it look like this thing spilled? Like there's no, from what we saw, there was no spillage on the ground, right? It was just the footprints stopped.
Would you like to try and get a closer look, even though there is a big crowd of people swarming towards the door?
No, I've been shot. I want to go home.
I imagine that what this looks like, literally, like in the Lego world, is one of those little holes on the back of your leg now just has this big round bullet lodged in it.
Yep, just a single stud just stuck in it.
Giles, practice your first aid on Oleg.
Oh, yes, certainly, of course. Wait, am I an ally? I have no mechanical benefits. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, Pilfer.
Well,
I will first aid him. Oleg, come here.
Yeah, you kneel down to start doing some first aid, and at that moment, the door bursts open, And like 3 assistant stage managers come rushing out. What on earth is happening out here?
I just freeze and then I look at them and I say, to be or not to be? That is the question. Eh?
What are you... explain to me what you're hoping to accomplish with this, please.
I don't know. I panicked.
Come on, Oleg, you know the next line. Whether
'tis nobler to fortune line.
We're practicing our lines. What do ye all need?
We're here to find the source of the sound of that gunshot.
Well, do you see any guns here?
So we are trying to deceive these people here. Pilfer, I think let's have you sway.
You got some decent sway. You got at least one.
Let's see, does Oleg have any sway?
I have one sway.
So I think we are potentially acting together as a group, maybe?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
When the pact works together to pull off a complicated maneuver or otherwise act together as a group, describe the approach, and then each hunter describes what they do and makes an action roll. So each of you roll 1 die to sway.
All right.
And Master Brickithon, you have no sway. Do you want to be part of this act together as a group? Or is there another way in which you want to try and get the heat off of yourselves?
I'm going to try to connect to these people because I have 1 die in connect.
Yes. We don't know where that came from. You know how it is. We're very stressed. We're trying to get the lines down right. We're putting on 34 productions at once, for Pete's sake.
All right. So let's have you roll 1 die for connect then.
That's a 4.
Okay, we got a 4 for Master Brickithon. For Oleg,
I'm rolling hot tonight. That's a 2.
Dang.
a 2. All right.
Oh.
And Pilfer.
I stole all your luck tonight because that's another 6.
Okay. So when we act together as a group, those who rolled a 1 to 3 are in a bad spot due to the maneuver.
Yeah, I've been shot.
Bullet is visible in his leg.
On a partial success, you've done all right, but there may be a consequence. And on a full success, a strong hit, you have done it. Now, anybody who got a hit, you can mark off 1 of your luck to get somebody else out of a bad spot, turning their miss into a partial success.
I'll do that.
All right, so Master Brickithon marks off 1 luck. Then the hunter that rolled the miss describes how the other hunter saved them. So, Oleg, what does Master Brickithon do to pull you out of this bad position?
As I'm trying to say my lines, I scream out because there's a bullet in my leg. I go, oh! And he goes, oh, fortune, and starts feeding me the next line.
And with the other acting we've seen in Hamlet, I'm sure they're very impressed by the passion that Oleg is clearly putting into his lines.
Yes.
Yeah, so here's what I think the consequence is going to be here. They're like, okay, you're going to do such a better job than the Hamlet we had before. And they reach down and they grab you and start dragging you towards the stage.
Yep. We did that to ourselves.
Okay.
That probably took some time in our hunt, didn't it?
A little bit of time, yes. So we're going to mark off another tick on our countdown clock. We've got 3 out of 8 left.
I feel like we're not doing very good at this whole hunting thing. We know almost nothing. Oleg is now in the cast and needs a cast on his leg.
From the stage, you just hear me going, oh, that this too solid flesh would melt, thaw, and resolve itself into dew, as I go into a state of hysteria, saying the correct lines, but also just complaining about the bullet in my leg.
And from off in the woods, you hear a voice, oh, what a piece of work is that man. He's actually doing a good job.
We'll get back here.
Oh, yes, you, Bartholomew, yes?
Brickithon.
Oh, of course. Well, what's up, my friend?
You are out here in the woods. You don't happen to know what this cauldron is doing suspended above us with this creepy, janky-looking rope, do you?
He looks up, sees the cauldron, his eyes bug out wide. He crosses himself and starts running away.
Classic Shakespeare.
I'm going to pursue.
All right. So you are chasing after this guy. You are hunting him, perhaps?
Yes.
Okay, give me 2d6.
Oh, that's a 4.
Okay, so I'm going to give you a choice. either he escapes, but he leaves behind a clue, or, well, actually, there's always another option that we haven't actually talked about yet in this game, the opportunity to push your luck or to make a deal with the darkness.
Oh, the devil's bargains.
Yes.
They're back, baby.
They're back. So if at any time you feel like you want to add another die to your pool as you're rolling, you can push your luck, which means you mark 2 of your luck and then roll another die, or you can make a deal with the darkness. I give you a narrative complication, and if you accept it, then you can roll another die. So the deal with the darkness that I would make to you is I'll give you another die to potentially try and catch him, but at the possibility of both of you rolling down the hill into the lake and taking some bumps and bruises.
Ooh.
Alternatively, you can just mark 2 luck and get that third die by pushing your luck.
This sounds a little boring, but I have a plan. I want him to get away but leave behind a clue.
Nice.
Okay, so that is our complication. Shakespeare has disappeared. As you're kind of like huffing and puffing, trying to catch your breath, hearing his footsteps disappearing into the steadily darkening forest, you see what appears to be an opened letter on the ground.
All right. I want to pick it up, and before I even read it, I want to trigger my lingering sense that I have.
Yes, lingering sense. When you touch something that belongs to someone or is a piece of a larger whole, you can know their general location and condition.
Yeah.
Oh, you smarty pants.
That's why I wanted him to leave something behind.
Okay, so this is one of your monstrous abilities. Now, one of the things with monstrous abilities is to activate them, you have to push your luck in order to get that extra boost. So that would be another 2 luck points. Well, I guess you didn't push your luck before, but you would mark 2 luck points, and then you choose one of these because you're kind of giving yourself into the monstrousness.
Okay.
You either lose control, suffer a condition, or I take a string on you, which is basically a narrative boot that can drop at some point in the future. I can spend a string to make something interesting happen in the story.
Interesting. I'll give you a string.
Yeah, give him a string.
Especially because Will and I, even if Will doesn't remember me, we have met before, so we have a bit of history.
All right. So I will make note that I have 1 string. And so, yeah, you reach down, you touch the letter, and your little mind palace kind of shows you this map of the camp. And you see that Shakespeare has started heading off further deeper into the forest. It looks like he's not necessarily moving in a strategic way, is just trying to get away.
Okay.
And the condition of Shakespeare is incredibly frightened.
I was a bit suspicious of him before, but he is so frightened there may be something else afoot.
Ned, I'd like to climb the tree and cut down the rope with my cutlass.
Ooh,
All right.
Scary.
Slowly, and I'd like to, make sure no one's beneath it.
All right. Yeah, I think that is easy enough that, now that Oleg has taken the fall for that commotion that happened earlier, you can get up there, you can cut it down. No big deal. We don't need to ask for a roll for that one.
And nothing funny happens when it falls, and when I get down to look at it, it's just a cauldron.
Would you like to try and glean some information from this cauldron?
Yeah, I'm not very good at it, but I'll try.
Can always try. Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's a way that we could flex one of the skills you're good at into gathering information.
I mean, he could call over some help. I could come assist him, maybe.
Yeah, I'll pick up the cauldron and go I'm gonna look at it, and then I'll just be like, Master Brickithon?
Do I have to do everything around here myself?
I have ideas. I'm not gonna say them, and I'd like a second opinion to feel more validated. So I'd like you to take a look and then tell me so I know if my hunch is right.
Yes.
And I will, let's see, would this be read?
I believe so.
I'm going to read a cauldron.
All right, go ahead and roll those 2d6.
That's a 5.
Very nice. So this is going to be a partial success. So I think the consequence we're going to get for that is between the time it took you to chase after Shakespeare and to get back here, we're going to tick off 1 more mark on the countdown. So we're at 2 out of 8 left. But you start peering into this cauldron and you're looking for residues on the inside. and you like reach your hand in there, kind of smear some out and give it a little sniff, and you're like, okay, what do I detect? I detect wings of bats, tongues of dogs, eyes of newts.
Interesting.
It's a prop.
It's a prop from the witches in the Scottish play.
Scottish play. Yes, that's what I was thinking. Mm-hmm.
As they're making this discovery, I've reached Act 3, Scene 2 on stage, still in this fugue state of pain.
I forgot.
And you hear from backstage, you hear me say, "'Tis now the very witching time of night, when churchyards yawn and hell itself breathes out contagion to this world." And then I scream a little bit and cry, and then I continue the monologue.
And on that dramatic note, we've managed to find a few clues. We're getting pretty close to the end of the countdown, but I think that seems like a nice dramatic place for us to pick up next time.
This game is different.
That it is. Because, yeah, you listened to us play Blades in the Dark, but have not as yet had a chance to play.
Yeah, it's different on the other side, playing it.
It always takes a minute to settle back into the rule changes, and everything's got its own little nuances.
Mm-hmm.
In Blades in the Dauphe, I almost died every session, and this time I did not check off a single bit of luck, so...
No, but you know what you did do? You used that Chekhov's gun to shoot me.
Hey.
No, this is Shakespeare. Not
Shakespeare's-
Chekhov.
I don't know if Shakespeare had a gun.
Yeah, we're all getting used to this new system, but I'm enjoying it so far. Hopefully you listeners are enjoying it as well, and enjoying our sort of self-indulgence as we just lean into all of this Shakespeare nerdery. But yeah, with that, thanks everybody for listening to this here episode of Improv Tabletop, and we'll be back next time with more adventures in the world of the Tension Builders. If you want more, go ahead and subscribe, maybe even give us a review. We would be as happy as a whole crew who found a much better Hamlet than the Hamlet that they used to have if you'd go ahead and give us a review on the podcatcher of your choice. We also have a bunch of social media accounts that aren't really being monitored. So if you'd like to get in touch with us, maybe you'd like to talk to us about our history with Shakespeare and the theatrical arts, maybe try sending us an email instead at improvtabletop@gmail.com. I'm monitoring that every day. Now it's time to shout out our next batch of Sticker Club patrons. And the people we're shouting out this week are Elizabeth McDowell, James Walker, and Jay Forsman. And these three are, in fact, among the assistant stage managers who managed to scout out this wonderful new Hamlet that is going to save the show, save the production, so you're all getting raises and promotions. You're not just going to be assistant stage managers for the next Shakespeare in the Park. You're going to be stage managers.
Ooh,
Wow.
Moving on up in the world.
Indeed.
Goodbye to your hair.
It's not all bad.
We'll have more Sticker Club patrons to shout out next week, and if you, dear listener, want to join their ranks, consider joining our Patreon at patreon.com/improvtabletop, where you can also get things like Discord access, biannual sticker packs, and more, such as our current ongoing patron-exclusive campaign, Serpent Sea Sagas.
Yeah.
In this campaign, we've got all kinds of spooky stuff happening in a haunted, abandoned, rundown old prison up on the hill. It is a D&D style game, but we're not playing D&D, we're playing Dungeon World, which is a game that I love very, very much. So if you want more of a classic D&D-ish sort of vibe, you can check out our previews that we're posting every other week. And now let's go ahead and do a round of plugs. And I will take that this time around. As always, we've got our sister podcast, iCast Fireball, which is a D&D 5e actual play. So if you want D&D vibes, but actually just straight up actual D&D instead of Dungeon World, then you can go see what we're playing over there. Lots of piratical stuff happening on that side of the podcast family as well.
Pirate, you say?
Pirates indeed.
Did somebody say pirate?
Yes, my character happens to be the captain of a pirate ship, which is still kind of a surprise to me. I ended up being the captain. Let's see, we've also got our affiliation with fanrolldice.com. So if you're interested in getting some hot new dice to play with, they have a collaboration with Hasbro where they have special dice for games like Clue and Monopoly and whatnot. So you can get like D6s that have the shoe and the Scotty dog and the top hat and stuff inside of them. They've got Catan dice as well that have the different resources, little miniature versions inside the dice. So if that sounds appealing to you, you can use coupon code VroomVroomFifi from our first Avatar campaign and get 10% off your order, and a little bit of that comes back to us, which is nice. And the other thing I'm going to plug this time around is Quinn's Quest. Quentin Smith, for a long time, has been reviewing video games, board games. You may have already seen his work with Shut Up and Sit Down, the board game review site, or maybe People Make Games, where he gets into all kinds of different gaming stuff out there in the world. And Quinn's Quest is his channel where he specifically plays and reviews tabletop RPGs, which, if you're listening to this podcast, you might be into that kind of thing. He has a very good analytical mind. He's very insightful, and he actually plays all of his RPGs before he reviews them. He has a full campaign with his friends, so that he has the actual insight. And recently, over on their Patreon, they started an actual play called Play to Find Out, where they play, in his own words, the cursed, crusty, and weird old RPGs from the 80s and 90s.
I love that.
Their first season, they played a game called Sky Realms of Joe Rune, which is wild. It's great. The first episode of those are free, so you can go check out Play to Find Out, Sky Realms of Joe Rune, and it's just a grand, wonderful time. But yeah, everything that Quinn's is doing over at Quinn's Quest is lovely, so I would definitely recommend giving him a look and seeing if you like what he's doing. And that's going to do it for our plugs today, so thanks everybody for joining us here in the world of The Tension Builders. I'm Ned Wilcock, your host and GM, and today I've been joined by...
Caleb Anderton, remember to chew your food.
Christian Randall, it's never too late to learn Shakespeare.
And Evan Peterson, if you can't find the gun, then I guess I didn't shoot it.
Much love and stuff, everybody. We'll catch you next time on Improv Tabletop. And the people we're shouting out this week are Elizabeth McDowell, James Walker, and Jay Forsman.
Yeah!
Those are my 3 favorite patrons.
You can say that every time.
No.